heard it here first. It's debuted right here on this channel. Never, ever heard of or seen before.
When you crack that throttle, you have a much larger column of air that's ramming down into it. Wow. So you get a lot more instant hit out of the motor. Right. This is the package that's in your father's motorcycle. This was your first package. This was your second package. Yep. And this is effectively the finale of our small, I'll call it small bore at 4 1/4, which is kind of crazy, but it's the finale of our 124, 128 development, because there's really no material left in this cylinder head to be able to do anything bigger and crazier with it.
Hey guys, it is a beautiful day today, and I'm here in Elk Ridge, Maryland, and you've seen this guy before, Adam. Adam has something special for you today, and guys, today we're going to be talking about cylinder heads, and we're going to start from the beginning to the end. So if you don't even know what a cylinder head is, make sure you watch this video. And if you have an idea what a cylinder head is, watch this video. And if you're an expert on cylinder heads, still watch this video. We have something for you today. So first we're going to roll the intro, and then we're going to get started. All right, let's roll. I am standing in front of this Milwaukee 8 engine here with Adam. So Adam, I know there's like 4 parts, maybe 5 main parts of this motor. Would you explain to the people the 5 major parts of this motor?
Certainly. So the top section is called the rocker box. This is what has the rocker arms, and it's the rocker arms open and close the valves. The valves are in the cylinder head, which is in this portion right here. Below the cylinder head is the cylinder. So like on a typical car, this is going to be built into the block. Right. But on a Harley V-twin and other V-twins, the cylinders are actually removable. Nice, because we can replace these with much bigger ones if we choose. But below the cylinder is the crankcase or bottom end. And in the bottom end is the crankshaft, and this is the cam chest up front. So it has the cam, the oil pump, the oil distribution center, which is the cam support plate, and then the lifters are inside here, pushing on the push rods to open and close the valves.
What we're focusing on today is the cylinder head, and he has 4 different cylinder heads out there. Now, to my eye, they all look the same.
Right.
But Adam's going to show us they range from stage 1 to stage 4. So Adam, explain to him what a cylinder head does. Let's start off with that first.
Okay, so the Milwaukee 8 is the latest of Harley's air-cooled V-twin engines. And it's really remarkable what they've done to improve this over the twin cam days. It's called the M8 because it has 8 valves. So it's 4 valves per cylinder, where the twin cam and every other engine before only had 2 valves.
4 valves per cylinder. You have 2 cylinders, 8 valves, Milwaukee 8.
Correct.
Now, for the people that don't know what a valve is, can you show them what a valve is?
Absolutely. So this is one of the M8 valves. This is actually an improved plus 2 millimeter valve, but it's going to look very similar to any of the valves. And where this ends up is right inside here. Yeah. So you can see there are two intake valves, and then there are ports here for 2 exhaust valves.
And the big ones are the intake valves?
That's correct.
And the smaller ones are the exhaust valve.
Yeah. So this is the exhaust port. This is where your exhaust system mounts to. This is what makes the Harley very different over every other typical, what I would call a typical 4 valve cylinder head. The intake port, because of the way this is designed, is a very clean, straight shot in.
Intake port side.
And that's what you're looking for. You want that to be a nice, clean shot. Because of the way the motorcycle is laid out, the exhaust port is not a clean shot. It actually has a bit of a turn to it. Okay. You wouldn't find that on a typical automotive cylinder head. It's really more of a spatial issue. V-Rod didn't have a port like this, and they had to have a custom-made frame, a hydroform frame, to give enough room for the exhaust system. So to keep a street glide looking like a street glide, this is pretty much what they had to do. Actually, I have a cylinder head here to show you, and this is a typical twin cam. Okay. So it has 1 intake and 1 exhaust. Cool. And that's how the Evolutions, the Sportsters, everything's been made this way for a very long time.
Wow, so this is the first time in a while that Harley, is this the first time ever that Harley has done this?
This is the first time in an air-cooled big twin that Harley has gone to a 4-valve cylinder head. There's a couple other models that do use 4 valves. The V-Rod notably was one of the early liquid-cooled 4-valve heads. The XG model, the Street, and now all of the Evolution Max motors, the Pan America, the Sportster S, the Nightster, those all use a liquid-cooled version of a 4-cylinder head.
So now why is 4 valves better than 2?
So
more flow, right?
It literally comes down to flow.
Yeah.
And it's just the function that you're going to be able to get a higher CFM through the 2 smaller intakes than 1 large.
More flow means what?
Well, it can mean more power. It can mean less power too if you don't have everything else sized properly.
Right.
But in general, you're going to want to have more flow to be able to make more power.
So you have laid out 4 cylinder heads.
Yes.
And you have 4 cams.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about this. Explain this.
So I laid 4 of them out because we have a stage 1, a stage 2, a 3, and a stage 4 cylinder head. They all look the same, and if you don't know what these mean, it can get difficult to pick which one is right for you. I've laid a cam out to try to help narrow down where each one of these heads works the best.
Okay.
So on a stock engine, you know, again, the Milwaukee 8 runs fantastic from the factory.
Yeah, it does.
Put a 468 cam in it and it runs even better.
Yes, it does.
But we can then continue to improve it. So a stage 1 cylinder head is a very simple amount of work. It's effectively, we are putting a new valve job in the cylinder head. So it's almost like a recon, but when we do that, we're improving the sealing on the valve to the seat. So we're regrinding the valve, recutting the seat, and we're improving the throat diameter to make all the numbers work how they're supposed to work. What we're effectively doing with a stage 1 is we're blueprinting it as a stock head, where we're correcting any issues that it may have
from the mass production.
Well, from production or even from running too, over time.
Yeah.
You know, you will end up with carbon deposits that can end up alter the sealing on your valves.
And in the earlier video, guys, when I first did the 124, that was the issue with my bike.
That's exactly what was wrong with your bike. Stock, that's what was wrong with it. You had carbon buildup and you had started to lose the seal on your valves.
Right.
So stage 1 is like we're gonna recon the head and give it a little bit of extra. Okay. So we want it to be a little bit better than when it came in. But this would be good on any stock level build, a recon, or something that's not some big giant engine. So I put a 468 cam down here with it because that's basically where I would recommend. You know, this motor is going to be from Harley, 9 to 9.5 to 1 compression. So the porting and the cam all have to work in that same arena.
You check out the video where my dad's bike got the 468 done to it.
That's good for a lot of people. When we first developed this, we were coming up with numbers, but saying this could literally be great for 70 to 80% of the riders out there who aren't going to build a big motor and try to go, big speeds or big acceleration. This really wakes it up and turns it into just a really fun motorcycle.
Oh yeah, and it got him well over 100 of torque. I'm not going to tell you the exact numbers because I want you to watch that video, but it got him well over 100 foot-pounds of torque and over 100 horsepower.
When we go to stage 2, this actually does go into our CNC head porting machine. We do not do a full CNC port job, but what we're doing is going in and correcting the exhaust port. There's something we can do on the turn to make it better, and we're changing the bowl diameter as well. The throat diameter. Again, it's a number that we're trying to achieve. It's a percentage that has to be within a certain amount of the size of the valve for the head to be its most efficient.
Right. It's all about increasing the flow, right?
Correct. So this is about increasing the flow, but it's predominantly about increasing the flow on the exhaust side.
Okay.
So there's not a heck of a lot done on the intake side. The majority is all on the exhaust. So we've run these both with a 468 and a 472. The 472 is what you had. probably what I would choose in this combination is the 472. This combination can make very, very good power.
It makes it made very, very good power.
I mean,
yes.
the motorcycle ran fantastic,
Yes,
and
it
that's
did.
only stage 2.
And guys, I want to
So-
add this: very, very good power. And I traveled across the country, all over, with a built 124.
So when we go to the stage 3, now we're really starting to build a performance engine.
Yeah.
So this has a fully CNC'd, both intake and exhaust ports are CNC cut. We've reshaped and redesigned the ports. It has larger and much better flowing valves. This is effectively a full head job. So we are changing everything to our specifications. This is going to be anywhere from the 11 to 11.5 to 1 range in compression. And we've seen plenty of motors make over 150 square with this cylinder head and the 552 cam.
Right. And this right now, guys, as we speak, this is what I am running right now. 552 and the stage 3 head. Right.
Anything in stage 3, we're now going to put a much bigger valve spring in, so we can run a higher lift, bigger duration cam. You know, if there's one thing you take from this video, it's about getting your compression, your cylinder head, and your cam correct. If you don't, it's not going to run to its optimum. I've said this many times before. You can buy all the best parts in the world.
Yeah.
And if they're not sized to work with one another, it's not going to work out. You're not going to end up making power. You can spend all the money you have and end up with a very slow motorcycle if you don't get those items working together.
Could you do these two? Just curious.
So if you were to try to put a 468 in this with that type of compression, I wouldn't recommend doing it, but I know for a fact that it's been done.
Okay.
Why I wouldn't do it is it takes the cranking compression and raises it very, very high. Now, why would you put a small cam in a higher compression, big head engine like this?
Why?
Immediate torque.
Oh.
It's not going to make a horsepower number. It'll never make 150 horsepower. It probably won't make 130 horsepower, but it might make 160 foot-pounds of torque, and it may do it at 2,000 RPMs or less.
Wow.
So if you were to undersize the cam and shift that power, you know, I would do that if I were trying to build a wheelie motorcycle or a stunt ride.
Bike.
You know, you want that early, immediate torque to just get that front end up.
Right. Okay.
So you can interchange, but it's at a cost.
Yeah.
If you do that, and if you were to try to put this cam in a stock head, it'd be a mess. It'd be terrible.
Okay. All right, guys. So we're at the last one. There's levels to this thing. Stage 1, 2, 3, and this right here, stage 4, is beast mode. Alpha Wolf, top of the pack, right here.
So this stage 4 cylinder head, we've gone and increased the valve sizes even bigger over the stage 3. So this is the next size up valves on the intake and exhaust. We've made the ports even bigger, intake and exhaust. The stage 4 actually has a significant change on the exhaust side. And we did that to be able to help make more horsepower up at the top. So if you're trying to make a horsepower number, it's stage 4 is where you want to go. In our stage 4 kits, these are probably going to be anywhere from 11.5 to 12. We can go even higher if necessary. We could probably go to 12.5 to 1 compression. But with that, you have to have a cam that works.
Right.
So what we're currently suggesting is the Redshift 588 cam.
Guys, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you heard it here first. It's debuted right here on this channel. Never, ever heard of or seen before. New cam from Redshift right here, the 588.
So the 588 was developed, you know, initially when we did the stage 4 12 to 1, it was really, we were working on packages for the drag strip. But it ran really well on the street too. We were surprised at how rideable it was on the street. But the more I rode it, the more I realized if you're on the track, you need power in a certain area, and if you're on street, you really want it pushed in a different RPM region. So the 588 is going to bring the power a little bit earlier and give you a lot more torque, meaning it's going to have a lot more hit when you hit the throttle. You know, when you have bigger ports, bigger valves, bigger cam with more duration, When you crack that throttle, you have a much larger column of air that's ramming down into it.
Wow.
So you get a lot more instant hit out of the motor.
Right.
So when you get to this level and you hit the throttle, it's gonna punch. You're gonna feel it pull. Not that these don't pull, because these are making tremendous power.
Right.
But this thing, this ends up showing how quickly you can outrun your chassis with this. You can very quickly outrun your brakes, your suspension. So
yeah,
it's an enormous amount of fun, but with great power comes great responsibility.
Told you guys, Alpha Wolf, front of the pack type of stuff right there. And you see the smile on my face because I said first time debuted. Well, actually, this video is being filmed while my bike is being built with the Stage 4 and the brand new 588 cam. So you may have saw that video first, because I probably will put it out first. But if you want to know what that package does, make sure you check out that video. Adam, I think that's pretty good. Is there anything else that you need to say before we go?
The only thing I can say is make sure you size everything correctly. Make sure that when you buy a cam, you know the compression it's supposed to go into. You make sure when you select the cylinder head that you have that right cam, because if you don't, you can spend all of your money and not end up with something that really runs. And nobody wants that, you know.
No,
and the person that put all the work into the cylinder head, you know, the camshaft people, everyone wants you to go faster, because that's the whole point. We want to have more power. And again, if you don't size those pieces and match everything, it will be a problem. This is the package that fits in your father's motorcycle. This was your first package. This was your second package. And this is effectively the finale of our you know, small, I'll call it small bore at 4 1/4, which is kind of crazy, but it's the finale of our 124, 128 development, because there's really no material left in this cylinder head to be able to do anything bigger and crazier with it.
I want to say this to you. If you're confused, if you still don't know, that's perfectly fine. They have a team of staff here that's ready to answer your questions at zippersperformance.com. Make sure that you go to the website, or you can give them a call. Give them a call, talk to the sales team, and they will be happy to tell you what you need in your motorcycle. All right, guys, make sure you watch that video, because just got that new Stage 4, which I'm calling the Alpha Wolf. That thing right there in my Street Glide is a beast. So make sure that you watch the video. So I want to thank Adam.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for watching. And guys, check out zippersperformance.com. Like, share, and subscribe. Keep gliding. As always, have a blessed day.